Okay. So we had seen what is the difference between RAM and hard disk. One is called as memory and other is called as storage. Then we have also seen the amount of data stored in both is different. If it is RAM, the amount of total data stored is less as compared to that of hard disk. Then it is what type of storage it is. One is temporary, one is permanent. Then we had seen that the contents in the RAM get disappeared if we do not save them, whereas in the hard disk they remain. The data in your RAM is stored in those black chips, which are called as banks, whereas in the hard disk it is stored on the platters, which contains various tracks and sectors, and then we can retrieve the data from there. We had seen what are the output devices. The one which displays the result or the information to the users are called as output devices. We had seen different examples like monitors, printers, plotters, projectors, LCD panels, COM speakers, all these are considered to be output devices. Then we had seen the definition of software. We had seen two types of software, the system software and the application software. The system software are being designed and they get to you when you buy your system. So your operating system, device drivers are examples of your system software. Whereas application software you need to install and it keeps on changing depending upon the users. So your Word, MS Word, spreadsheets, Paint, browsers, all these are considered to be as application software. Then we had seen the von Neumann architecture. That is, whatever computer systems are being developed so far, they are either fixed program computer or stored program computer. Previously, we were using fixed program. Just a second. If you can see me, sir is calling. I'll be just back in 2 minutes. Yeah, sorry. So we had seen two types of computers, the fixed program and the stored program. The fixed programs are one which were being used previously, but now we have used stored programs. What is fixed programs? We had seen that if it is being written, we cannot change them. To change them, we have to separately rewrite them. Whereas if it is a stored program, if we write, we can always rewrite it anytime, whenever we want. Then we had seen certain what do you mean by program and what is an instruction. A program is nothing but a different set of instructions where every instruction is executed by the CPU. Okay. Then we had seen different units of von Neumann architecture, that is input unit, output unit, ALU, control unit, and memory unit. We had seen what is input unit. The devices from where we accept the input is considered to be as input unit. Then we had seen what are output devices, that is nothing but the output unit, which allows us to display the results or the information on the user screen. Then we had seen ALU, which stands for arithmetic and logic unit, which performs all the calculations like addition, subtraction, comparison, logical operations, bit shifting. Everything is being done, all the brain work, all the calculation is done by the ALU. Then we had seen this diagram, which we first started with the different kind of buses. Now, if you see the diagram, we have two types of buses. The address bus, data bus, control bus, which handles the communication between the CPU and the memory. And the other one is the IO bus, which handles the communication between the IO devices and the CPU. We have already seen memory, that is primary and secondary memory. We have seen what are input output devices. We have also seen certain parts of the CPU, which is ALU that performs all your logical operation work. We have also seen what is PC, that is program counter, which always points to the next instruction. Now, how is that instruction pointed? That we will be seeing in the upcoming slides today. Then we have instruction register. We have MAR. What does that MAR stands for? Memory address register. That means it is a register which stores only the address of the data. Where is the data stored? It is stored in MDR, that is memory data register. Then we had seen what is control unit, which handles all the functions of the CPU as well as the memory as well as your IO devices. We have also seen what is accumulator, which generally is used to store the results. Then we have different types of general purpose registers, which is used to store the data for the temporary purpose inside your cache memory. So we had seen all this. Today we'll be starting with the buses. Now, what do you mean by bus? It is a device which is used to transmit the data from one part of a computer to other part of a computer. So if you see this diagram, if I want to take a data from this device to memory, how it is connected, if you see, it is connected with different buses. From this end to CPU, it is connected with the IO bus, and from CPU to memory, it is further connected by address, data, and control bus. So what is that bus? It is nothing but a device which takes you from one component to another component. So we have three such types of buses: the data bus, address, and control. Now, what do you mean by data bus? It is used to carry only the data. So if I have A is equal to 2, what will my data bus carry? Only the value 2. Next we have is address bus. Now what is address bus? It tells me that where your location is there of the data which is stored. So if A is equal to 2 is my data, that data is located on some address, which is say suppose 0000. So which bus will tell me the address? It will be the address bus which will carry the address 0000, and it will be the data bus which will carry the data A equal to 2. And what is a control bus? It carries the control commands from CPU in order to control and coordinate all the activities within the computer. So as I told you in this exam diagram, whatever the function, address, and data bus is doing, both of the buses are controlled by whom? They are being controlled by the control bus. So the address bus will take the address, which is say 0000 or 0001 and so on. And the data bus will take only the data, which is A is equal to 2 or B is equal to 3 and so on. And who will be controlling both these buses? It will be the control bus. So if you see the diagram, your address register is connected to the address bus. Why? Because here also address is stored and that address is carried by the address bus. Again, MDR, which is memory data register, is connected to whom? Is connected to the data bus. Why? Because whatever data is stored over here, that data will be carried by whom? By the data bus. Therefore, you will never have MDR connected to address bus and MAR connected to data bus. If it is data, you will have data bus. If it is address, you will have address bus. So these are the three types of buses and the definition of the bus. Is this clear up till here? Devang? Any one of you, please tell me yes if I'm audible.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we have
Yes,
seen
ma'am.
what is a bus.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So we have seen what is a bus. It is a device that will take us the data from one place to another, and we have seen the three types of bus. Now next we'll see how are the programs executed with the help of this von Neumann system. So what is that von Neumann? It is nothing but a computer system. What is program? We have already seen. It is nothing but a set of instructions. So if I combine all the instructions, they become a program. And when I give it to the computer, it is given as a program. But what is done by the CPU? The CPU will execute each and every instruction which is there inside the program. So now, whenever I want to execute any program, I have to load that program inside the main memory. So if I want to execute any program, a program has to be loaded where? In the main memory. Now what is that main memory? It is nothing but the RAM. So if I want to execute anything inside my system, any application if I want to open, any document that I want to type, any document that I want to save, and when I want to open that document, it has to be first brought in the main memory. Now we have seen the three memories: cache memory, primary memory, and secondary memory. If there is a space in cache memory, the data will be stored there. But if you do not have space, it will get stored inside the RAM. Again, if you do not have a space in RAM, it has to get stored inside your hard disk. Now, whenever I want to execute the data, say suppose that data is inside the hard disk. What is the function of the system? It will first take the data from the hard disk and it will bring inside your RAM. And then it will start the execution. Even if it is inside the cache memory, it will be first brought inside the RAM. So anything that you want to execute in the computer system is compulsorily to be loaded inside the main memory, and that main memory is nothing but your RAM. If it is not loaded in the memory, it will never get executed, and it is a duty of a system to get it loaded inside the RAM. Okay, then there is a special register called as PC. What is that PC? Program counter. What will that program counter do? It will point to the first instruction of the program. So if my program has 5 instructions, once that program is brought inside the RAM for executing, you will get activated the program counter. What will that program counter do? It will point to the first instruction which has to be executed. After that is being completed, it will point to the next, and it will go on incrementing until the end of the program has not reached. After the first instruction is being pointed by the program counter, what will happen? The CPU will fetch that instruction. That means what? The CPU will take that instruction for execution. After that execution is completed, it will take next instruction, and again it will keep on doing this until the end of the program has not been reached. So if you see this diagram now, this is a program. Where is that program? It is inside my main memory. Why? Because whatever I want to execute has to be first brought inside the main memory. Now this program has many instructions, instruction 1, 2, 3, and so on. Every instruction has a memory address. If you see here, 000, 001, 0010, and so on. So what is this 0001? It is the memory address. What is that instruction? Say suppose integer a equal to 2, which means what? 2 will be stored in the variable a. Now what is written over here? PC. What is that PC? It is nothing but the program counter. So what is that program counter doing? As soon as this program is loaded inside the main memory, who gets activated? It is the program counter that gets activated. So this program counter will get activated. After it is activated, what it is going to do? It will point the first instruction. It will point the instruction 1. After it has pointed, what it is going to do? It will execute that instruction. So what is that instruction 1? Int a equal to 2. So it will execute this. Execute means it will store the value 2 into the variable a. After that is completed, if you see, the program counter is pointing to the next instruction. So after instruction 1 has completed, where will this pointer automatically shift to? It will shift to the instruction number 2. Instruction number 2 will get executed, which is integer b is equal to 3. After it is pointing integer b is equal to 3, what will happen? CPU will execute b is equal to 3. Means it will store the value 3 into the variable b. After that execution is completed, what will happen? Again, this program counter will point instruction number 3. It will read the instruction 3 as c is equal to a plus b. What will happen? This CPU will execute a plus b, that is 2 plus 3, and store result 5 into c. Again, the program counter will point to the next instruction. So this will keep on happening until and unless I do not come to the end of the program. Once I have reached to the end of the program, the result will be submitted to the user on the output devices. Okay. Now you might ask me a question that why there is a need of memory address over here? Because where is this entire function happening? This entire function is happening inside your CPU. So if you see, where is my memory location stored? They are stored in MAR. Who is taking that address is address bus. Where is my instruction stored? In MDR. What is that MDR? Memory data register. So instruction 1, instruction 2, where they are stored? Inside the MDR. Who is going to take that data? It will be taken by the data bus. After the result is calculated, who is going to store that result? It will be stored inside the accumulator. And who is pointing to the next instruction every time? It is pointed by the program counter. So as soon as the program is loaded inside your main memory, PC will get activated. It will go to the first instruction, take the address of that instruction, take the data of that instruction, execute that instruction, store it inside the accumulator. Again, it will go to the program counter. It will check which is the instruction that is pointed by the program counter. It will take the address from MAR, take the data from MDR, execute the instruction, store the result in accumulator. This process will continue in the loop until and unless I do not get the end result. Once the result is being displayed, it will stop the execution of that particular program. Is this understood up to here?
Ma'am, so the memory location is stored in MAR, na?
MAR, yes.
So, ma'am, in the last quiz which had happened, that
There
matched
was
the
a
call.
mistake in there.
It
Yes,
was
yes,
a
there was a
mistake.
mistake in there. I will change it. Many of you have told me that, so I will change that and I will re-upload the marks. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
हाँ. So all these memory addresses 0000001 ये किधर store है? They are stored inside the MAR. ठीक है. Instruction 1, Instruction 2 किधर store है? MDR में. Program counter किसको point करेगा? Instruction 1, 2, 3 and so on. And where is the result? Inside the accumulator. Any other doubts in this up till here?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So we go ahead. So what have we done is we have loaded the program inside the main memory. We have seen how it has been executed by considering program counter, MAR, that is address register, DR, that is data register, and storing of result, which is accumulator. Next, we'll see how the instructions are fetched inside the program. Okay. So if we see, CPU interacts with two registers. Which are those two registers? The MAR register and the DR register. What is that MAR? It is nothing but the memory address register. And what is DR? That is nothing but MDR that we have just seen. Memory data register. What is MAR providing you? It is giving you the memory location where the data is stored. What is MDR giving you? The data which is has to be executed. Okay. Now, if you see over here, what is happening? See, the instruction which are to be executed are brought from memory to the CPU in the following steps. What did I just tell you? That if you want to execute anything, that program has to be brought inside the main memory. Main memory में आने के बाद क्या होगा? MAR उसको यूज करेगा, MDR उसको यूज करेगा, accumulator उसको यूज करेगा और program counter यूज करेगा. Where are all these four units? They are inside the CPU. So once if the program is brought inside the main memory, after main memory, it is given to the CPU for the execution. So what is happening after it is given to the CPU that we are going to see now? Okay. The instruction address is transferred from PC to MAR. If you remember the diagram, this diagram. If you want to please draw this diagram, only the CPU part. What is the first thing? The instruction is given from this PC to MAR. Why? Because PC is pointing to the instruction. I cannot directly execute the instruction or take the instruction. I first have to take the address, and with the help of address, I have to take the data. So what is this telling you? That your instruction address is transferred from PC to MAR. So PC is pointing the instruction. From that instruction, where is the data getting transmitted? Not the data, but what is that PC telling you? That this is the address of a particular data or the instruction which you want to execute. So after PC, who is getting activated is the MAR. Why this MAR is activated? To take the address. After the address is taken, what is going to happen? A read signal will be activated. What is the function of that read signal? Which means that the CPU is allowed to read that instruction for the execution purpose only after this read control signal is activated. तो जब तक ये read signal activate नहीं होता, तब तक CPU कोई भी data read नहीं कर पाएगा. And when is this read activated? After the instruction location is transferred from PC to MAR. So what is happening from the diagram, if I tell you, what is PC doing? PC is transferring everything to MAR. Why to MAR? Because I want to reach to MDR. So to reach to MDR, I have to go via MAR. Because if I want a data, I have to first know the address. If I do not know the address, I cannot take the data. So PC is transferring the control to the address. After the address is being identified, that is, एक बार address मिल गया 000, what will I do with this address? I will fetch the instruction. But when will this instruction be fetched? Only when the read signal is activated. Who will activate this read signal? It will be activated by the system itself. Once that read signal is activated, CPU will execute the instruction. If the read signal is not activated, CPU will not execute that particular instruction. Okay. Then the required instruction flows on the data bus, and the instruction on the data bus is accepted in DR. That means once the read signal is activated, I will, with the help of the data bus, I can access the data which is used for the execution purpose. So if you see this diagram, it will get more clear. This is the part of your memory, which we just saw in the ये जो diagram है, this diagram and this diagram is same. Okay. So this is our primary memory. These are the memory addresses. Okay. First, the program counter will point to 0, then it will point to 1, 2, and so on till n. So what will happen as soon as I have loaded my program in the main memory, that is the primary memory, program counter will get activated. That is this. Program counter will get activated. Program counter will transfer what? It will transfer its address to whom? To the memory address register. What will memory address register do? It will go to that particular address inside the main memory. For example, if program counter has read this 0, so what is the address over here? 0000. Where is that 00 transmitted to? MAR. MAR will take that 0000 and it will search for that 0000 inside this primary memory. So it will find that yes, 00 is over here. After that data or the address is being reached over here, read signal will get activated. After the read signal will get activated, with the help of the data bus, I can get access to the data register. Once I get access to the data register, I can execute the data directly from the data register. So program counter will point the instruction, memory address register will take the address, it will go to the particular address in the primary memory, and then with the help of the data bus, it will reach to the data register, and then it will extract the data to be executed. But when are you allowed to reach to this data register? Only when the read signal is activated. So if the signal is not activated, I cannot extract this data. Is this clear up till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So we have seen that how the instructions are fetched. After the instructions are fetched, how are they being executed? Okay. Now next is what is happening if you see this diagram. You have three units: the memory unit, the CPU unit, and the IO unit. So can I say that whatever is getting transmitted, it is either getting transmitted from memory to CPU or CPU to memory, or else it is getting transmitted from CPU to IO, IO to CPU. There is no other component involved. So same thing we are going to see over here. The instruction which is fetched is in the binary form. Okay, so whatever instruction is fetched, int a is equal to 2. What is that a is equal to 2? A human language. But once it is being given to the system, it will convert it into which language? A binary language. So whatever instructions are there, those instructions are getting converted into a binary form. Where those instructions are loaded, they are loaded into instruction register, that is IR. We have seen two types of IR. One is the current instruction register and one is the buffer instruction register. What is current instruction? जो execute हो चुका है वो recently चला जाएगा current execution में, और जो execute होना बाकी है that will remain in the buffer register. If you don't remember, it was there over here. See these two parts: the current instruction and buffer instruction register. What is happening in current? Which are recently executed are stored there, and which are supposed to be executed are there inside the buffer register. Okay. So once my data is being fetched, it is converted into binary form. After it is converted into the binary form, it is stored into instruction register. Now which instruction register? Buffer instruction, huh? Not current. Current में कब जाएगा? Execute होने के बाद. So from the data register, I have got the data. After the data is being received to me, I will store that instruction in the instruction buffer register. The instruction specifies what action the CPU has to take. So int a is equal to 2. What is this instruction going to tell the CPU? That it has to store the data value 2 into the variable a. So your instruction is going to tell the CPU what kind of work you have to do. And then it is being given to the ALU to execute. CPU interprets the instruction and performs the required action. What action now CPU will do is, CPU can transfer the data to the memory. Memory can transfer the data to the CPU. CPU can transfer the data to IO, or IO can transfer the data to CPU. And CPU may perform some ALU operation. Now what is that? After the execution work is done, I have completed the execution of int a is equal to 2, b is equal to 3, 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. Now what I have to do is I have to display this 5 to the user. So what will the system do? It is calculated by whom? The result 5 is calculated by CPU. Now what will happen is it might go and store into the memory. because until and unless it is displayed to the user, it has to store inside the memory. So see, what will happen with the data result 5, CPU will transfer it into the memory. What will this memory do? The memory will use this IO devices to display it to the user. So whatever these signals you can see over here, nothing but means the same. After the calculation is done by the CPU, the result is stored into the memory. Initially, when it has to be brought for the execution, it is brought from the memory to the CPU. Once the execution is completed, if the data is stored inside your cache memory, it can directly be transferred to the user through IO devices. And how does a user give the input? The user gives the input through the IO devices and it goes to the CPU for the execution. So what are these four signals? First signal is telling me that CPU is executing and data is getting stored in the memory. Second is that once the data which has to be executed is taken from the memory and it is going to be given to the CPU for the execution. The third signal tells me that the CPU can execute the data and store inside itself, that is a cache memory, and from there only it can directly display to the user. It is not necessary it will go to the RAM and hard disk. If it has the space in its own, it will store there first. After that, the IO devices can directly use any input or any input given to the system, and the CPU will execute and store the or generate the result in the output. So these are the four type of execution that can be done for any kind of instruction. Executed by CPU, stored in memory, taken from memory, executed by CPU, taken from CPU, displayed to the output devices, taken input from the input device, executed by CPU, and then generate the output in the output device. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
what we have seen up to here is we have seen the von Neumann architecture, which contains the components that is input, output, ALU, control unit, and memory unit. We have seen how the computer can fetch the instruction with the help of program counter, how the instructions are executed with the help of memory address register and data register. After the instruction is fetched and stored in the data register, it is executed by using these four actions, and then the result is generated to the user. Okay. So we go to the next topic, that is interconnection structure. Now, what is interconnection structure? We have just seen the definition of a bus. What does a bus say? That it is a device which is used to connect any component inside the computer. Why is that connection done? So that structure, a design upon the exchange made between the module. When a word of a data is transferred between the module, all its bits are also transferred in parallel. Now, what does this mean? You might have studied in digital now. What do you mean by bit? What do you mean by bytes? And what do you mean by word? Bit is one bit, either 0 or 1. Byte means 8 bits together make one byte. And 2 bytes, that is 16 bits, makes one word. Okay. So now whenever the data is getting transferred, that means whenever these bits are getting transferred, they do not go one by one, they go in parallel. So if I have a data of 16 bits, so एक बार 16 बार data नहीं जाएगा. All the 16 bits will go together in parallel. How is this possible? This is possible because of this interconnection structure. Which is that interconnection structure? It is nothing but the bus. So with the help of a bus, I am transmitting the data in parallel. In parallel means every data is going at the same time. एक एक करके data नहीं जा रहा. These bits are transferred in simultaneously over different wires. That means if you see, I have many different wires and I am using all those wires to transmit the data one at a time. This group of wires is called as the bus. So if you see, we have seen already a bus called as address bus and data bus. So ये address bus क्या लेके जा रहा है? 0000. चारों bits एक साथ लेके जा रहा है. It is not taking 1 0, then the second 0, then the third 0, and so on. It is taking all the 4 data bits, that is 0000, at a same time. So how is this parallel transmission possible, it is possible with the group of wires. What are those group of wires called as bus? See, this is one wire, this is one wire. So both of the wire together called as bus. So one is the address bus, other is the data bus. Okay, now if you see the diagram, you have different structure of the bus. The first one is the single bus structure. Now what do you mean by single bus? Single bus matlab ek hi bus. Now what do you mean by that one bus? If you see in the diagram, I have control bus, address bus and data bus. I have 4 units: input unit, output unit, memory unit and processor unit. All these 3 bus together are also called as system bus. So many a times in exam, it is asked for 3 marks or 2 marks that define the system bus and explain the types of system bus. So what are those system bus? You have to explain all the 3 buses individually. Control bus, address bus, data bus. ये तीनों बस को हम क्या बोलते हैं? System bus बोलते हैं. Okay. Now what is happening? If you see, you have one control bus, you have one address bus and you have one data bus. ये तीनों buses को प्रोसेसर भी कनेक्टेड है, मेमोरी भी कनेक्टेड है, आउटपुट भी कनेक्टेड है और इनपुट भी कनेक्टेड है. इफ यू सी, इनपुट इज कनेक्टेड टू कंट्रोल बस विद दिस लाइन, इनपुट इज कनेक्टेड टू एड्रेस बस विद दिस लाइन, इनपुट इज कनेक्टेड टू डेटा बस विद दिस लाइन. Similarly, output is also connected to control bus, address bus and data bus. Memory is also connected to control bus, address bus and data bus. Processor is also connected to control bus, address bus and data bus. Now if you see the arrow, this is bidirectional. Bidirectional मतलब input control को भी connected है, control input को भी connected है. मतलब input भी दे सकता है data, control भी दे सकता है data. That is what is bidirectional. Bidirectional means both can transmit the data at a same time. Now if you see, data address bus is unidirection. Address bus is unidirection means address bus can only transmit to the input. It cannot take anything from input. If you see data, again data is unidirectional. That means input devices is giving the data on the data bus. कोई data input को नहीं जा रहा है, because input सिर्फ दे सकते हैं हम, input से कुछ ले नहीं सकते. That is how it is connected. So from the input, you have unidirection to the data bus. Similarly, for output, it is bidirectional for control. Control bus can give to output, output can give to control. Okay. Whereas address bus is connected in unidirection form to the output. And similarly, data bus is also connected in unidirectional form to the output. Because once the operation is completed, once the execution is completed, the data is displayed to the output device. Therefore, it is unidirection. We are not taking anything from the output. We are just using output to observe. Whereas if you see here, data bus is bidirectional to memory as well as it is bidirectional to processor. Why? Because हम processor से भी data ले सकते हैं, processor में data दे भी सकते हैं. Why? Because we have a cache memory inside the processor. तो अगर data cache memory में store करना है, तो I have to show this bidirectional. Again, this memory is primary or secondary memory. So I can take the data from primary memory, give it to the data bus, take the data from the data bus and give it to the memory. Therefore, these two are bidirectional. Again, why memory is unidirectional with address bus? Because I am always referring the memory locations with the address bus. I am not taking anything from the memory. I am just using it to identify the memory locations. Now, why it is called a single bus? Because you have only one control, you have only one address and you have only one data. But if suppose processor को I separately attach control, address and data, again memory को I attach control, address and data separately, again for output if I attach control, address and data separately, and again for input if I attach control, address and data memory separately, which means what? I will have 1, 2, 3, 4 control buses, I will have 4 address buses and I will have 4 data buses, which means it is more than one. Therefore, I cannot call that structure as a single bus. When I am using all the 3 in common, I will call it as single. But if I am not using it in common, I will call it as multiple bus structure. Why multiple? Because I am using more than one control, more than one address and more than one data, which is specific separately to each and every individual units attached here. Is this clear? What is single bus structure?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if I have If I have every units attached to a common address, common data, and a common control bus, I call it as single bus structure. But if I have all the units connected separately to all the three buses individually, use that 1 minute to work with these three buses. एक मिनट खत्म हो गया तो वो 1 minute खत्म हो गया तो ट्रांसफर किसको चला जाएगा, मेमोरी को. अगेन मेमोरी विल ऑपरेट फॉर 1 minute. आफ्टर 1 minute is completed, it will go to the processor. After 1 minute of processor is completed, again it will come back to the input. So this will keep on happening, but on time sharing basis, and that time has already been decided. What was the time that I decided? 1 minute. तो सबको एक मिनट मिलेगा. एक मिनट होने के बाद what will happen? Again, after that, all the 4 minutes are completed. I will again come back in the loop and start giving 1 minute to input. After that, again 1 minute to output, followed by memory and processor. So this will keep on continuing up till when? Up till the result is not being generated. Therefore, it is called that the bus is time shared. So whenever, okay, my voice is cutting, I'll explain again. Now, what is happening? A single bus structure is time shared. Time shared means what? Every unit that is connected to these buses are going to
Again,
operate
Ma'am, your voice is fluctuating in between.
ma'am, again,
some amount of time.
ma'am, your voice is splitting.
The time is decided,
Ma'am,
say, suppose 1 minute. So your input device
Hello,
will
ma'am. Hello.
ma'am, your voice is still fluctuating.
अभी भी मैम का नेट नहीं है ना?
हाँ,
नहीं आ रहा.
नहीं है.
हाँ मैम का नेट नहीं है.
मैम लेफ्ट हो गया.
ध्रुव, तू अच्छे से, तेरा नेट चल रहा है, टेंशन मत ले.
मैम लेफ्ट हो गए.
मेरा तो चलता है पर बहुत
अरे
टाइम
recording
नहीं है, फिर तो टेंशन आता है.
रिकॉर्डिंग ऑन है, कोई कुछ ज्यादा बोलना मत. मैम का ग्रुप पे मैसेज आया.
Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Sahil?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So what we were seeing is the single bus structure. So why it is called single bus structure? Because we have only a single control bus, single address bus, and single data bus. All the three buses together are called as system bus. We have four
More people.
units.
You are not
Sorry,
presenting the people.
sorry.
Ma'am, presentation.
Acha, sorry. Can you see now?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, just wait. I'll start the presentation. Can you see now? Okay. So we started with a single bus structure. What a bus structure where I have three single buses, control bus, address bus, and data bus. All the three buses together are called as system bus. Why it is single bus? Because I have only one control, one address, and one data, to which there are four units connected: input, output, memory, and processor. That means input is output, memory, processor, all the four are sharing same control bus, address bus, and data bus. Now, how are they working? They are working on a time sharing basis. Now, what is time sharing basis? Every unit, that is input, output, memory, and processor, is given some amount of time to operate. If the operation is completed, they will generate the result. If the operation is not completed, again they will continue to work for 1 minute each. So what will happen? First, the input will get activated and it will work for 1 minute. If the work of the input is done, it will shift to output. But if suppose the time 1 minute is completed and the input is not taken by the data bus or by the address bus, what will happen? The input has to wait. Automatically, the control will go to the output. Again, it will work for 1 minute. If the work is done, it is okay. If it is not done, it will transfer to memory. Again, memory will operate for 1 minute and the transfer will go to the processor. So this will keep on happening until the result is not being generated. That is what is called as the bus is the time share and it works on the time sharing basis. What is a data bus used for? It is used to move the data between the system modules. So what is this data bus used? It is used to move the data from processor to memory or from input to memory, from memory to processor, and then processor to output. So whatever the data is moving between these four units is moved with the help of the data bus. Similarly, what is the function of address bus? Whenever I want to transmit any address or if I want to access the data with the help of the address, who is going to flow that address between these components? It will be flown with the help of the address bus. So if you see, the data bus is bidirectional, as I told, because it can take the data as well as it can give the data. But if it is address bus, the address bus is always unidirection. Why? Because it is giving the data or it is taking the data, but it cannot do both at the same time. Therefore, it is unidirection. And what is the function of a control bus? It is used to control certain units. Which units? It will control the memory, it will control the input, it will control the output, and it will control the processor. So whatever 4 components you can see here, all the working of these 4 components is controlled by whom? It is controlled by your control bus. How it is controlling? It is controlling with the help of these signals. What are that? Memory read, memory write, read, write, bus request, and bus grant. If you see the diagram, how it is going to operate first, with the help of those 6 signals. IO read, IO write will use input and output. Memory read, memory write will use memory and processor. And bus grant and bus request is what? If I want to perform any kind of input operation, I will be using which buses? Control bus, address bus, and data bus. So I have to request for the bus before I use it. So that is done with the help of which command? A bus request command. So when before using, I have to request, and therefore that is done with the help of bus request. Once the bus is given, how will the unit understand that the bus is given or not? With the help of the bus grant signal. So bus request means if you want to use the bus, you give the request first. After the request is given, it will generate a bus grant. After that, I can use IO read and IO write. Similarly for output, if I want to use the bus, I will make use of bus request command. In return, I will get a bus grant, and then I can perform IO read, IO write. If it is memory, again same, I will first request for the bus with the help of bus request. I will get a grant to the bus with the help of bus grant command, and then I can perform memory read and memory write. You cannot perform IO read and IO write on memory, and you cannot perform memory read and memory write of IO. So memory read, memory write are with respect to memory modules. IO read and IO write is with respect to input and output modules. Okay, so who generates these signals? These signals are generated by the control bus. And what are those signals called as? They are called as control signals. Is this clear? So
Yes.
okay. So we have
Yes, ma'am.
what is interconnection structure? It is nothing but the bus structure. What is that bus? It is used for connecting the components for the data transfer purpose. And we do not have only one bus. There are a group of wires, and those group of wires are multiple buses like address, data, control. We have seen single bus structure where multiple modules share a common control bus, common address bus, and a common data bus. All the 3 buses together form a system bus. Then we have seen what is a function of data bus. It is used to carry the data from one module to another, and it is bidirectional because it can give the data as well as take the data. If it is address bus, it is used to take or carry only the address. So you cannot give the address, but you can only supply the address. Therefore, it is unidirectional. Then we have seen the control bus, which will be controlling the address bus and the activity of the data bus with the help of certain control signals. So we have 6 control signals. Before I use the bus, I have to make a bus request. In return, I get a bus grant. And then if I'm using memory, I will make use of memory read and memory write. And if I'm making use of IO, I will make use of IO read and IO write. So what are the operations of a bus? If a one module wants to send the data to another, I make use of a bus. You obtain the control of a bus and you transfer the data via the bus. If a module wishes to request the data from another module, again I make use of a bus, the control lines, and then you have to wait for the grant. Once the grant is given to you, then you can make use of the buses. The control bus, address bus, and data bus. And we also know the structure of the bus. So this is what is the structure of a single bus. What are the different control signals that are used by the control bus? There are 6 signals: IO read, IO write, memory read, memory write, bus grant, and bus request. Okay. So next lecture, tomorrow we'll see multiple bus hierarchy. So today we have seen how the memory unit works, that is taking the data from program counter, giving it to the CPU for execution, how the instructions are fetched, how the instructions are executed. We have seen the bus structure, different types of buses, the work. This is how the instructions are fetched and instructions are executed. With the help of program, any doubts, anyone?
No, ma'am, no, ma'am.
Okay, so okay, I will send the recording. Any other doubts?
Ma'am, PPT also.
Yes, PPT also.
Ma'am, can we leave?
Yes, yes.
Ma'am,
My
attendance.
man.
Attendance taken.
Okay, ma'am.
Hmm.
Bye, ma'am.